BSc Chemistry Surface Coatings presented by Dr. Giridhar M, Assistant Professor of Chemistry, Department of Collegiate Education. So contents. So in this session we will be studying dyes, definition of dyes, wax polishing, water and oil paints, metallic coatings, electroless. In metallic coating we will be studying electroless plating, so in which we will be studying hot dipping and metal spraying, and we will be studying electroplating, anodizing. So let us start with dyes. So dye is a colored substance that has an affinity to a substance to which it is being applied. Dye is generally applied in an aqueous solution and may require moderator to improve fastness of the dye on the fiber. So this is the definition of dye. Dye is colored substance that has an affinity to the substance to which it is being applied. Both dyes and pigments are colored. So dyes are also colored and pigments are also colored because they absorb only light in the visible region. So because they both these compounds absorb visible light in the visible region, they are colored in nature. So dyes are usually soluble in nature, whereas pigments are insoluble. So this is the difference. So that is, dyes are soluble in water and pigments are insoluble. So in the last session we have also studied what are pigments. Okay, some dyes can be rendered insoluble with addition of salt to produce a lake pigment. Okay, so this is also a type of dyeing of fabrics where lake pigment is used. Okay, when to this dye some salt is added to make it insoluble dye, and then cloth is dipped in that pigment, lake pigment. So let us move to wax polishing. So polishing is a process of creating smooth and shiny surface by rubbing it for using chemical action, leaving a surface with a significant specular reflection. So that means in case of polishing we will be rubbing the surface, okay, to create a shiny surface. So this is called polishing. Waxes are diverse class of organic compounds that are lyophilic, malleable solids near ambient temperature. So these are usually organic compounds, waxes. They are insoluble in water but soluble in organic non-polar solvents. They include higher alkanes and lipids, typically with melting point above 40 degrees centigrade. So to give low viscosity liquid. So above 40 degrees centigrade they give very low viscosity liquid, and below 40 degrees centigrade they give high viscosity liquid. Okay, these are usually organic and non-polar solvents. So example, mainly polythene and polypropylene waxes, okay, are used in formulation of coatings, and they are also used in paints as they confer mating effect and wear resistance. Mating means smooth, okay, surface will be smooth, and also wear resistance. Okay, so this is wax polishing. They are also employed as release agents, find use as slip agents in furniture, and confer corrosion resistance. So usually furnitures ಗೆ ನಾವು wax polishing ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, okay, to get shiny surface. Okay, and also corrosion, okay, in case of metals, okay, it gives corrosion resistance. Next we will move to water and oil paints. Water paints are paints used in painting method in which paints are made up of pigments suspended in water based solution. So water paints means these are pigments which are soluble in water. Okay, water is the base here. So usually what happens in oil paint, oil is the base, okay, whereas in case of water paints, water is the base. Oil paints are a type of slow drying paint that consists of particles of pigments suspended in drying oil, commonly linseed oil. So oils we have already studied. Okay, ನಾವು ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಆಯಿಲ್ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಆಯಿಲ್ ಪೇಂಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ, okay, pigments are suspended in drying oil, which we call it as a binder or vehicle, ಅಲ್ವಾ. So usually linseed oil is used. Why linseed oil is used? Because it is cheap. So that is why linseed oil is commonly used. The viscosity of the paint may be modified by the addition of solvents such as turpentine. Andre this is thinner. Okay, white spirit. So these are all thinners and they are used to dilute the paint. And varnish may be added to increase the glossiness of the dried oil film. Okay, so this is about water and oil paint. Oil paint is the process of painting with pigments with a medium of drying oil as binder. Pigments already we have studied alva. So pigment contains zinc oxide for white, titanium dioxide for white, okay, copper sulfate for blue. So pigments we have already studied. Lithophane, okay, so all these things. Characteristics of water and oil paints. The oil paints require an oil that hardens. Okay, so oil means here binder. Okay, vehicle, what we call it as vehicle, and form stable impermeable film. They are called session-20 or drying oil. They have high levels of number greater than 130. Okay, these are actually polyunsaturated fatty acid with iodine number 130, greater than 130. So what iodine value andre number of double bonds. Okay, it is an indication of double bonds present in the organic that oil, and are considered drying those as iodine number 115 to 230 are semi drying. So with iodine number 115 to 230 it is semi drying. Okay, and those with iodine number less than 115 are non-drying. So these oils doesn't undergo drying. Okay, double bond ಬೇಗ ಇದ್ದಷ್ಟು ಅದು ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಜೊತೆ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಸೊ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಬೇಗ ಡ್ರೈ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Applications of oil painting. So in finishing and protection of wood in buildings and exposed metal structures such as ships and bridges. Used for both interior and exterior surface of wood and metal because of hard wearing properties. Due to slow drying properties, it has been recently used in paint on glass animation. So these are some of the application of oil paint. Next we will move to metallic coating. In this method, metal article which is to be protected is known as base metal. So ಅಂದರೆ ಯಾವ ಮೆಟಲ್ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ಕೋಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕೋ ಆ ಮೆಟಲ್ನ ಏನು ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಬೇಸ್ ಮೆಟಲ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ದ ಮೆಟಲ್ ವಿಚ್ ಈಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಕೋಟಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ ನೋನ್ ಆಸ್ ಕೋಟ್ ಮೆಟಲ್. ಓಕೆ, ಕೋಟ್ ಮೆಟಲ್. Therefore, metallic coatings are applied over the base metal surface is done by two methods. So, ಯಾವ two method? One is electroless method and another one is electroplating. So, these are the two methods by which we can do metallic coating. Okay. Next, we will move to electroless plating. It is a process of painting which is done entirely by chemical reaction. No external source of electric current is required in this case. Okay, through some chemical reaction electroless plating is carried out and external source of current is not required. So it involves deposition of metal onto a part of surface occurs in an aqueous solution containing ions of coat metal. For example, if copperನ ಡೆಪಾಸಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ copper sulfate ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. Okay, which contains Cu2 plus ions. Okay, so that is the meaning of this. The process used as reducing agent and work part of the surface. So catalyst reduces metal to ions. So ಅಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ okay, usually reduction takes place. So for example, when zinc is dipped in copper sulfate, so ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, zinc will act as reducing agent. It will reduce copper 2 plus ions to copper and that copper will get coated on zinc metal. So this is the process. Okay, chemical reaction is taking place. So nickel and nickel alloys are used for this plating. Other are iron, aluminum, titanium, etc. Okay, nickel alloys, iron, aluminum, titanium ಇವೆಲ್ಲನೂ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಆಸ್ ಎ coating material. Example, autocatalytic immersion of steel in an aqueous solution of coat metal to get uniform coating. So this is steel is dipped in coat solution to get a coated material. Nickel solution ಒಳಗೆ ಡಿಪ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನಿಕ್ಕಲ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, it will form a uniform coat layer. Next is hot dipping. The base metal or article to be coated is dipped in a bath of coat molten metal and it's alive for sufficient time to get uniform coating. The base metal must be very clean so that it will be wetted by the molten metal and a uniform coat will result. So andre illi very simple, the metal which is to be coated is dipped in molten metal, molten coat metal. ಸೊ ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಸೊ ವಾಪಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಎತ್ತಿದಾಗ ಅದೇನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ದ ಮೆಥಡ್ ಈಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಕೋಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಲೋ ಮೆಲ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಮೆಟಲ್ಸ್ ಸಚ್ ಆಸ್ zinc, tin, lead, or iron, steel and copper which have for iron, steel, copper which have high melting point. ಅಂದರೆ zinc, tin, lead ಇದೆಲ್ಲನೂ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮೆಲ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಮೆಲ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ವಿ ಗೆಟ್ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಐರನ್, ಸ್ಟೀಲ್, ಕಾಪರ್ ಆರ್ ಡಿಪ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ zinc, tin, lead to get a coat of this zinc, tin or lead. The hot dipping involves the galvanization method. The process of coating a base metal with a thin coat of zinc to prevent it from rusting. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ especially this iron or steel is dipped in zinc zinc solution to get a uniform coating which prevents it from rusting. Next is, so hot dipping method involves, so one, iron or steel cleaned by pickling in dilute HCl. ಸೊ ಐರನ್ ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ಟೀಲು ಡೈಲ್ಯೂಟ್ HCl ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಪ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ರಸ್ಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೊರಟೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ನಮಗೆ ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಮೆಟಲ್ ಸರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ರಿಮೂವಿಂಗ್ ಆಲ್ ಇಂಪ್ಯೂರಿಟೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಬಾತ್ ಕಂಟೈನಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಲ್ಟನ್ ಜಿಂಕ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅಮೋನಿಯಂ ಕ್ಲೋರೈಡ್ ಫ್ಲಕ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಐರನ್ ಆರ್ ಸ್ಟೀಲ್ ಇಸ್ ಡಿಪ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಮಾಲ್ಟನ್ ಜಿಂಕ್ and temperature of bath is maintained at 430 degrees centigrade, so which is above the melting point of this zinc. Coat occurs and then coated metal is passed through a pair of rollers to remove the excess molten metal and to obtain a thin uniform coat. So once dip ಮಾಡಿ ತೆಗೆದ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೋಟ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ and it is passed through rollers. ಯಾಕೆ, to remove the excess metal on the surface of iron or steel. So it is cooled slowly. So this is the method of hot dipping. Uses, so this is used for protecting iron pipes, roofing sheets, protection of screws and prevention from atmospheric corrosion. Next we will move to metal spraying. The surface to be coated by this technique has to be clean and rough for better adherence. In this method, molten metal coat droplets are optimized and blown on the surface of base metal with compressed air using spray gun. ಸೊ ಅಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಲ್ಟನ್ ಮೆಟಲ್ನ ಸ್ಪ್ರೇ ಗನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಸ್ಪ್ರೇ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಟು ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಎ ಕೋಟ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಬೇಸ್ ಮೆಟಲ್. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಯೂಮಿನಿಯಂ is coated by using this technique on aircraft steel parts etc. Zinc, copper, cadmium, lead, nickel, tin, brass and monal metal coatings are given using this method. Next we will move to advantages of this. The coating may be applied to a particular desired spot and the thickness can be easily controlled. Irregular objects can be given a uniform coat more easily by this method than by any other method. And what are the disadvantages of this method? The sprayed coatings are generally more porous, less adherent, harder than coating provided by other methods. So advantages and disadvantages of hot dip of metal spraying. So next we will move to electroplating. So it is also known as electrodeposition. It is based on the principle of electrolysis, a process by which coating metal is deposited on the base metal by passing a direct current through the electrolytic solution containing soluble salt of coat metal. So if this is copper and this is zinc, so this is copper sulfate solution. So now anode is made of coat metal and cathode is base metal. So when electricity is applied, so ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, so from the copper metal the copper ions copper dissolves and it gets deposited on, okay, cathode. So this type of coating is carried out by using electricity, and hence it is called as electroplating. So it is in the actual process, the metal which is to be electrodeposited is taken as cathode and coat metal as anode. A solution of coat metal salt is used as electrolyte. Okay, now the andre copper sulfate coat metal andre copper coat metal andre copper sulfate is used as electrolyte. Now the anode and cathode are dipped in the electrolyte, okay, and the electrodes are connected to a battery and current is passed. Electrolysis takes place and a thin layer of coat metal is obtained. Thickness of electroplating depends on the current density, time of deposition, temperature of electrolytic bath. This method is most important and commonly used for producing metallic coatings. Next we will move to anodizing. So metals such as zinc, nickel, chromium, tin, etc. are capable of forming self-protective layer of their respective oxides. Okay, so they form self-protecting layers. Yavadu zinc, nickel, chromium. Okay, zinc, even after corrosion, okay, zinc oxide forms will protect the surface of the inner zinc. But aluminum coated surface requires oxidation to convert the metal to its inert oxide. This is affected by making aluminum coated article, the anode, in a bath of 10 to 15% H2SO4 and electrolyzing. ಅಂದರೆ ಅಲ್ಯೂಮಿನಿಯಂನ ನಾವು ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಓಕೆ, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಈ ಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಡ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಇನರ್ಟ್. ಸೊ ನಾವು ಹೇಗೆ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅದನ್ನು ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೈಸು? ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಬೈ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಯೂಮಿನಿಯಂ ಕೋಟೆಡ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಆಸ್ ಆ್ಯನೋಡ್ in a bath of 10 to 15% H2SO4 and electrolyzing. The cathode may be made up of inert conducting material. The oxygen evolved at the anode oxidizes outer layer of the oxide, okay, outer layer of the metal, okay, Al2O3. The oxide layer is highly porous, and so to reduce the porosity, the article after electrolysis is kept immersed in boiling water bath. This results in the formation of moderate of the oxide Al2O3H2O, leading to the expansion of the film. This expansion decreases the porosity and consequently corrosion resistance is increased. ಸೊ ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ಈ ಮೆಟಲ್ ಅಲ್ಯೂಮಿನಿಯಂನ ಆ್ಯನೋಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದು ಪೋರಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಪೋರಸಿಟಿನ ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಾಯ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಬಾತಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಪ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಬಾಯ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಬಾತಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಪ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮೋನೋಹೈಡ್ರೇಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್. ಸೊ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್, okay, and this decreases the pores and consequently corrosion resistance is increased. So anodized surface Al2O3 being amphoteric incorporate dyes readily. Okay, even dyes kuda apply ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಇಂಥ ಸರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ. we can also apply, okay, dyes. So colored coats can be obtained by adding dyes to the electrolytic bath. After parts, aircraft parts, refrigerators, pistons, reflectors, machine parts, etc. are anodized by this method. So references. Thank you.